final race of the day. Two winners from their races. American Magic on the left, Emirates Team New Zealand on the right. Two boats that are extremely quick. Shirley Robinson called American Magic hot. She thinks Emirates Team New Zealand are on rails. Let's go to Shirley Robinson. What excites you most about this race, Shirley?
This is the match of the day, Stephen, isn't it? You know, the two winners from today, and both we think are going pretty well. So excited to see how the Americans match up in the breeze. It's going to be good.
I think we all just want to see a boat race. We haven't seen a boat race yet. You know, we've seen amazing footage. We've seen a new class, a new stuff that we've never seen before. The sailing world, the sporting world has never seen before, but I think we'd like to see a race. Let's see something close, and let's see how these guys start maneuvering in close quarters.
Under 4 minutes to race start to this fourth and final race of the day. Day number 1 of the America's Cup World Series, and two winners. Who can have a perfect record by the end of the day? Will it be American Magic back in the game for the first time since 2003 when you were on the waters here in the Hauraki Gulf, Kenny? That's not that long ago. And Emirates,
thank you, Stephen.
Emirates Team New Zealand, the defender. And Dean Barker, two Kiwi skippers. You know, that's sort of the irony of all of this. Dean Barker knows what it's like to sail on these waters. He grew up on these waters, won the America's Cup, and now he's look at the pressure, Nathan, on that wheel.
It just shows you how quick the boats are going, and how much load he's got through the wheel, and the concentration required to drive these boats.
Just to zip around and pre-start, the concentration that's necessary.
Board down here at
he's just trying to put the boat in the right position to enter on time, and that's why the course, you know, the people out there watching it probably think there's plenty of space for these boats, but when you're on board, you can never have too much space on a boat that goes this fast. And
are you suggesting the pre-start's not big enough for these boats?
The pre-start could never be too big. You know, the last thing you really want to do is turn back to the start line before you have to. You know, you want to go as far as you can, make your maneuver, and come back. I think it's going to be hammer and tongs here in a minute.
2 minutes and 32 seconds left before the port boat can enter. The port boat in this race will be American Magic. The starboard boat entering into the box will be Emirates Team New Zealand.
In the practice racing, Stephen, we have seen that boats that are not up, I tell you what, these guys are not, they're not late by any means. They're going to be right on time, or oh, wow, that is close. That was beautifully done. Almost perfect, right?
It's what we call in this part of the world, American Magic are honking into there.
Honking.
And New Zealand aren't foiling.
Yeah, see, what I started to say was we've seen the mistakes being made by the teams that aren't foiling in their preparation soon enough. And do what Team New Zealand's doing right now is that they struggle to get up on the wings, up on the foils. So it's really, they're learning, but this is a preparation. You can't get up on the foils soon enough to make sure you're not having the problem that Emirates Team New Zealand just had and enter really late and kind of behind the 8 ball.
Emirates Team New Zealand are into the start box. 1 minute and 26 seconds left to start race number 4.
Why wouldn't more people want to do this?
Fire hose in the face. There's nothing better than that, is there? But you're absolutely right, Ken. I remember when we were prepping for all our starts there in Bermuda, it's about 5 minutes out, you're in this position. 2 minutes out, you're in this position. It's all about your positioning and timing. And right now, Team New Zealand just look like they don't want to even engage with American Magic at all. They're staying as far away from them as they can.
Counting down to race number 4, day 1 of the America's Cup World Series. A little on 50 seconds to go for the start of this race. Both these teams have got one under their belt. American Magic over Ineos, Emirates Team New Zealand over Luna Rossa, which was the opening race of the day. And now it would appear that Emirates Team New Zealand wants to engage.
Port starboard coming up, but again, Emirates Team New Zealand tacks well underneath, but comes off the foils yet again. Boy, they look like they have a problem. We have not seen them this smooth or unsmooth for a while. Time to the line.
You take it, Pete, I'll get it last.
Turning back up here in 3, 2, 1. The line's open now. Yeah, copy all the way up here, all the way up.
You go, Lenny, send it back. I've got nothing.
Yeah, somebody says I got nothing. So they have had a problem here.
That was a great
I'll
start
try
by
and
American
balance
Magic.
it.
I thought at one moment there they were going to get locked out, but Team New Zealand just clearly had some kind of problem, whether it was a time on distance issue or they've actually got a physical problem on board. But Dean Barker owned that.
You heard Ashby say something about a problem. So hopefully they're fired up and ready to go. Let's see if they can get it back together.
2, 1, keep close to turning. Yep. Hey, don't need to trip anymore. You won't get it back up.
I think they got a traveler issue because if they ease it, he said, don't ease it anymore or you won't get it back up. Like they got an issue.
Yeah, nice, bro. Okay, pacing up us. Just trying to get it locked in there, boys.
Traveler's moving.
Good angle for Bill, Pete, no high. Okay. Still struggling to get the jib here, fellas. Going track in.
Plenty of chat on board about their systems and communicating what's going on. I guess they're probably, you know, whenever you do have an issue or you think you have an issue, you start going through all the different systems on the boat. Okay, this one's working, that one's working, and you debug it as you're racing. It's part of the skill of being a high-performance racer. You've got to understand your machinery.
Race start win. You give that to American Magic without even blinking. Technical gear issues with Emirates Team New Zealand, but both falling and at pace.
Let's see if Emirates Team New Zealand has their act back together with regards to all the systems on board. If they do, then this is as close to a boat race as we've had so far, and we could see some excitement.
New Zealand with the superior speed difference, not a heck of a lot, but they are running quicker up into that top gate.
Start working it up there. Only 25, you stay here, Goody. He'll be board down, so he's board down. 3, 2, 1, board down.
So, yeah, go ahead, Nathan.
I was going to say, that's the voice of Dean Barker. He was just checking out what was happening to Leeward. Eyes through that window there, and he just wants to match tacks with Emirates Team New Zealand. You know, what we call this right now is being in phase with your opposition. They had a loose cover when they're on port tack, but as soon as Team New Zealand tacked on the boundary, Dean just slams straight on top of him and just keeps control of the race.
And they would have had a they would have had a key word there between the tactician and Dean Barker, which means just slam him right on the nose as soon as he starts to tack. And they you heard them use the foils as their key to that the other boat's going to tack. It's one of the problems here. You can't do anything quietly on these boats. If you're going to tack, the foil goes down. That gives the other boat the warning, hey, they're tacking. Do we want to do something about it?
So American Magic with a 100, just under 200-metre lead on Emirates Team New Zealand.
We're on lay here, theoretically, standing by.
Emirates Team New Zealand with a slight speed advantage. They head towards that, we'll call it the left-hand side boundary. And the top gate for the first of 3 laps, up and down 3 times. That's 6 legs. We're on leg 1 of 6. And it's Patriot leading 10 the whole time.
Red line you see on the screen there is the virtual lay line to the top mark. So these guys are very, very close to the lay line. But what we do know is that it's really shifty and gusty at the top of the course. Shirley, how does it look right up there now? It looks like it's really puffy from what we can see.
Yeah, same as before, Nathan. The closer they get to the spectator fleet in these top marks, you know, the more unstable the breeze is. Massive holes, but also massive puffs of wind. I mean, really difficult to deal with, and actually they look like they're doing a pretty good job, the Americans.
American Magic approaching the top gate for the first time. They're taking the right-hand marker, and around they go, leading Emirates Team New Zealand. Look at the work on that wheel, hanging on for dear life as Emirates Team New Zealand now head into that top gate. Around they go, and they are the chaser.
Sure, almost your angle there. Send it.
He's just itching for that traveler to come up right there, Nathan, so he could keep the power on the boat. But one thing that's very clearly happening in all the other races so far today, when the boat got behind, it got way behind really fast. These guys are keeping it a race. So, we got 2 pretty equal boats here right now.
Yeah, they're keeping it tight. The thing that caught my eye around those top marks was the intensity in the face of both Dean Barker and Pete Burling. Any boat, any high-performance boat, when you go to do that bear away, that's the fastest moment of sail. It's when you go from upwind to downwind where you're going to get extra power. And look at the wheels shaking in Dean Barker's hands here right now. It's got some load on it, and they are absolutely ripping down the
And on the practice race we saw, which they won by 10 seconds, their downward speed was incredibly quick. They're sitting at 43 knots. They are well quicker right now than Emirates Team New Zealand downwind.
It's going to go a lot lighter here.
The angle differences between the boats, you know, that the Kiwis, they must be 10 degrees lower right now. When it comes to, here's their angle straight down, and the other guy's going away. So a big VMG difference. It could be how they're sailing the boat, or it just could be a puff on the race course.
Very light ass.
Okay, you've thrown out VMG, Kenny, so we're going to have to go there early in this this cycle of the America's Cup. Velocity made good.
Well, we got the new guy in. So what? No, I won't.
Don't throw me under the bus. It's your turn. Explain it.
The angle and the speed. The angle and speed, the combination of the two gets you closest or fastest to the mark. The boat with the highest VMG will always get to the mark fastest.
It was really obvious there from the helicopter shots that we had really puffy conditions on the race course, and the difference in 3 or 4 knots of wind speed could be the difference in 10 degrees of angle when you're going downwind here.
Angle there.
Big difference. Remember, they jive right behind each other, and all of a sudden, just a huge angle difference.
Dean Barker and Patrick look on point, don't they?
They do, and they're sailing very differently. We were talking in the last race about the camber, the extreme camber between Luna Rossa. Luna Rossa was creating downwind. It sure looks like the Americans are doing it very differently. They're sailing with a really flat mainsail downwind compared to the other boats. So again, this is stuff that all the teams are going to be looking at each other and trying to learn from each other. But these guys are not slow downwind. There's no question about it.
25
now,
seconds.
You notice that Team New Zealand made another jibe down that run. The helicopter shot showed
25, 30 the other way.
American Magic lifting up out of that pressure. Team New Zealand said, rather than following them, we'll just jibe back through it again. So they've done an extra couple of jibes down this run. And manoeuvring, you lose distance, but sailing and less when you also lose distance. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to set up a split at the bottom gate. But it looks like Dean Barker is all over it, and he places a jibe right in front of them. Both boats coming in on starboard tack to the bottom mark.
American Magic flying into the bottom gate for the first time to complete lap 1 of 3, and they are flying.
I'll be early tack.
As they take the right-hand mark and head to the start of the second lap. They go upwind to that top gate. But not too far behind is Emirates Team New Zealand. Here come Peter Burling and the crew.
Okay, I'm in now. Yep.
And around they go. But they certainly are chasing that mouse.
1.
Both teams look exceptionally smooth. This is a really hard maneuver. Round the mark and go right into attack. Really hard maneuver, Nathan, and sure enough, it did not go well.
This is something we've not seen before. In all the practice training, practice races that we've been looking at in Auckland, they haven't been doing this. So I don't know if it's pressure or if they actually have some issue on board that's making them look a bit sticky.
Down the front. Yeah, can't be a second here, boys.
But I can tell you one thing, you do attack like that and that's 20 seconds you're never going to get back.
I'm surprised they took that chance right there, because they were only 200 meters behind and the other boat was just turning to go upwind, so probably get a little closer than that. I'm surprised, but again, it's practice. Let's see if we can pull this maneuver off. They got something to go look at after the fact, but again, from a racing standpoint, I'm surprised they kind of took that chance. And we're only, what, a third of the way into the race, too.
Magnificent sight. The bows of these AC-75s we travel down the side of Emirates Team New Zealand.
Still trying to build here, 20.
It really is a sight to behold as they fly towards the top gate for the second time.
200 meters turned into 400 meters on that one splashdown. You can't afford it. You can't do it.
10. 3.
So Emirates Team New Zealand travelling close to 40 knots. USA travelling around 37 knots.
forward.
They are flying.
Yep, yours. Keep pressing. Keep pressing.
Surely that leeward mark rounding was not pretty for Emirates Team New Zealand, was it?
We're not used to seeing that, are we, Kenny? Actually, to me, this is not the Kiwi team that we saw in the first race. I mean, I definitely think something is not right on board.
Probably.
Lots of little things like the jib's not even coming in quick enough. They're up and down, they're touching down quite a lot. It's just not the flawless, consistent, on-rails Kiwi team that we saw earlier in the day. So it'll be interesting to hear what's actually going on. Saying that though, looking at the American team, they look solid. They're fast in a straight line. I know they're confident about their windy weather speed. You know, they think they're fast. But I'm not sure this is quite the match that we thought it was going to be.
Not going to make my line. Yep. I'm back in 10 here. 3, 2, 1. Alright.
One thing it looks to me is that the jib on the American Magic is a little bit smaller than what Emirates Team New Zealand are using. I know they've got 4 or 5 different codes of jibs, and I've heard the sailors talking a lot about how critical it is to pick the right sails for this race. I don't think that's, you know, completely the issue here right now. I think that there's probably some other issue happening on Team New Zealand that we're not aware about. But American Magic look like they're locked in, they're dialed in, and
they're down in the water again. The Kiwis were down in the water again there for a second, I believe. So
Still got no clutch. Yeah, yours.
we were giving Sir Ben the benefit of the doubt in that last race that something must have been wrong. You know, these guys definitely had problems in the pre-start. There might be something wrong on board the boat as well.
Still got nothing. There it goes. Go, boys. Going well. Nice fella.
That's the voice of Glenn Ashby. He's still got some upbeat tone in his voice. He knows that they've got a problem on board. They're just dealing with it. And again, you never know. There could be a problem that might happen on the other boat. Let's keep it close and let's try and stay close enough. If an opportunity presents itself, they want to take this race win.
Which, by the way, leads to another reason why that leeward mark, you know, kind of uncharacteristic move might not have been the right, you know, they're going to go back and look at that. Might not have been the right call at that moment in time. You got 2/3 of the race to go. You think you got a quick boat? Why take that chance and kind of end the race as it looks, at least right now, in one maneuver?
Patriot representing the New York Yacht Club back in the game on the Hauraki Gulf for the first time since 2003, and they are doing the job right now on Emirates Team New Zealand. They beat them the other day in a practice race by 10 seconds. They go around the top gate. They'd be intrigued to know what that advantage will be a little bit more than that, considering the touchdown by Emirates Team New Zealand at that bottom gate. But away they go, American Magic.
Yep. Still a 15-degree right here, just up here. Yep.
Much lower aspect jib
than the
Kiwis.
5 away.
Emirates Team New Zealand coming towards the left mark in the top gate and 25 plus seconds behind American Magic.
Getting lighter this corner, Pete.
You can tell by the upbeat mood on that boat, they are not giving up. They will throw everything at this.
Interesting that the Americans, I think it's very light air in that upper right, as we were just looking at the screen, that right-hand corner, so both boats get out of that side pretty quick. Shirley, is it obviously light where they were going?
I can't tell you how close to the shore it is. I mean, this course is crowbarred into the harbour. It really is. There is no margin. The same at the bottom mark, you know, literally the boats have about 3 seconds to be on the beach. So they're very, very close. The land is high and sometimes it's a big path and sometimes there's nothing, you know, there's very, very difficult conditions there.
Shirley, it sounds like it's a sailor's race out there right now. Yes, the speed differences of the equipment might be making it easier or harder, but if you're not in the right place at the right time and you're not executing your maneuvers and capitalizing on the weather around you, you're going to lose. So definitely a sailor's race happening on the water from what I can see here.
I agree. This is a great race venue. I mean, loads of Loads of opportunities. It reminds me a bit of Sydney Harbour. You know, lots going on. You can almost smell the city of Auckland here, and you can hear the people on North Head. You know, it's all on, and yeah, there is nowhere to hide on this racetrack.
360 odd meters between the two yachts.
Negative play, right.
It is American Magic, Patriot leading Emirates Team New Zealand. They have a strongest speed downwind, as we have said before, sitting on just over 40 knots as opposed to 38.
They're not getting further behind right now, Nathan. This is a bit of a comeback with the Kiwis, and whether that is tactical or whether that is in speed, I'm sure we'll be able to figure out some of that later on.
Nice catch, mate.
They sure look far ahead though. They're looking through this angle, don't they? The boat in front.
Yeah, it looks can be deceiving from different camera angles. But right now, you're right that they've matched jibes down this run. They're pretty much following. The distances hasn't been changing too much. You know, perhaps maybe they brought in a little bit of extra wind down, but one thing is that, you know, the wind for these guys is not necessarily coming behind and catching them. They're actually sailing through the puffs downwind. So all it takes, as we saw on the first run, is American Magic to sail out of the front of pressure, and Emirates Team New Zealand will actually slowly catch them up as they go down. So that's why I think, you know, you got to be on your game. You got to pick the shifts, and it's not easy out there.
But gee, one small mistake can be so costly, so costly. Any quarter was 500 meters, and American Magic were away. It's now 460 odd meters as American Magic heads into the bottom gate and will start the final lap that completes 4 legs. Remember, 3 times up or down. 6 legs, 3 laps. Dean Barker just steers them around that right-hand mark and head up towards on the upward leg for the final time.
It'll be interesting to see if these guys try that other. They are going to try it. They're going to try to do a last-second jibe right at this mark to create a split right away. They're still racing. There's no question. They're still doing hard maneuvers.
And on those numbers, it was 20 seconds. They've picked up at least Emirates Team New Zealand 5 seconds on the downward leg.
And they've split the course, so they're out of phase, so they're giving themselves an opportunity to get back into it. And just looking at the angles of that gate, it looked like they took the favoured mark. You know, sailing less distance, out of phase. All they need now is a little left-hand shift, and they could be coming off that boundary in great shape.
We're going to have to ask Marcelino Botin at some stage, but that boat is shaped like a whale, if you ask me. I mean, like that beautiful feature of a whale, of the underbody of a whale.
What sort of whale?
I was going to say...
Sperm whale, looks a bit sperm whaley to me.
And by the way, I say that with all due respect. I can hear all my friends at home saying, don't call my boat a whale. Well, no, I'm saying that in all due respect. It's like you say something shaped like a beautiful wing of a bird, of a fast bird. Well, it does. It has this incredible feature to it, doesn't it?
These guys look slick, don't they? They launched their boat first from memory. They've done the most hours in their race boat out of all the teams.
And I think the most hours out of their practice boat as well, that they call the Mule. These guys don't go away though, do they?
Something like just on 400 meters downwind was the gap. Now it's almost to shave that in half. And Emirates Team New Zealand with superior speed going upwind. Can they run down American Magic?
2, 1, or down.
Here we go. Tacking duel upwind.
We got a tacking duel for all you people that said it couldn't happen.
Here comes one. Coming up 3.
It's like a 12-meter race, except different.
So we do the same again here, Terry.
They're talking about let's do the same. That means they just want to stay in phase. A lot of times the boat leading is willing to give up a little bit of distance in order to take away the big gain from the guy behind. So let's tack. Let's stay with them between your opponent and the hoop.
So what's the play, Nathan, by Emirates Team New Zealand? What are they able to do getting to the top gate for the last time?
Just got to keep tacking. Keep, you know, when they're on the lifted tack, take a bit of a gain. The more you tack, the more they're going to tack. You're trying to draw an error out of your competitor here right now. So they're going to roll into attack, and American Magic are just going to match him here straight away. And what these guys are getting right now is valuable data. who's gaining the most or losing the most in attacks. To me, it looks like New Zealand have resolved whatever problem they had earlier, and they're coming back into them here slowly. American Magic haven't done the greatest of attacks. Still on the foil, but you know, if I was Pete Burling right now, I'd be going, oh, let's do another one. Let's keep putting them under pressure.
So what's the apparent wind angle on these boats right now, Nathan?
Super narrow. It'd be in and around 15, like 11 degrees probably.
So in a normal boat, the Kiwis are in the bad air of American Magic, but in a boat like this, not even close. You almost have to
you have to tack directly in front to affect them. If you are like a boat length to windward, you've got pressure.
Yes, that's you, but there was some concerned faces saying, how can American Magic hold on with Emirates Team New Zealand starting to put the pressure on this penultimate leg?
And turning.
I agree with something Nathan said, that Dean is not a very vocal guy usually. You've heard some tension in his voice maybe a little bit during this race, and just the fact that they are not letting them out of their sights right now means
We've only got 20 seconds to lay.
They've got a race on their hands.
I think we're just going one on the
Considering
right.
Emirates Team New Zealand had what appeared to be
further
gear
because
issues
it's
at the
probably
start of
right
this
shift of the
race
mark.
to get back into this
He
race
goes
after
forward down,
that.
we've got a head of
rounding,
rounding.
splashing down 400 metres, and they're well back in the hunt here.
This is where they're going to be kicking themselves for trying to take that risky move the first time around, that gate number 2, that risky move that cost them a lot.
Man, if Team New Zealand are on ley line here at the top mark and America have gone further, we've got a big potential for an overlap coming to the top mark and a lead change. So I can't see from this angle, but man, he's definitely coming in. You know, they're inside 80 metres now. You can hear the pressure being mounted all the time here. Just pressing the pressure valve.
Shirley, we wanted a race. We got a race.
Wait to be left gate.
It's so exciting. It's fantastic. The Kiwis are coming right back into it. Actually, when they tagged it as well, the Kiwis didn't execute it quite as well as we've been used to seeing them do. And the Americans seem like being excited, but he's keeping a calm head. And their manoeuvres have been exceptional on this leg.
American Magic, they tack, so do Emirates Team New Zealand.
Could be that inside overlap that Nathan was talking about.
Top gate for the last time, watching closely, left mark.
They got it. They got the inside overlap, and they're not going to. They have no reason to bear off until they want to. Wow! One bad tack by the Americans.
Emirates Team New Zealand take the lead in both protests.
You're kidding me, Archie. Dean Barker just went one boat length too far. If he had just tacked that one boat length earlier, that situation never would have
Penalty
developed.
USA, but cleared. Penalty USA, but cleared.
And now Team New Zealand do a bad job out of all of that. So Team New Zealand got the lead, got the penalty, drew the penalty, but now they're off their foils. Dean Barker there and the team are going to jibe on the boundary. It looks a little lighter over there, but they've been foiling and ripping the whole time. This race has just come alive.
I'm really surprised they left control right there. Team New Zealand had control, and they jibed out of it right away. They must really think it's light air in that upper corner of the race course. They lost control again. Look at that.
Exactly. I reckon the Americans got out of that. You know, they made the error, and then Team New Zealand just jibed and gave the race back to them again.
And a protest, and they burned off a protest. So,
but it's not over yet. You know, you can see there's a lot of pressure between the two boats there. It's not over yet.
inside overlap coming up to this gate mark, taking a left turn. Inside overlap by Emirates Team New Zealand. They don't have to turn around, and then all of a sudden they extend away, they push the button. The Americans actually had a protest against them, but they jived out of it. I thought they would have clean air coming out of that maneuver, and they could have stayed in that spot, but obviously they thought otherwise, and here we go, another pass.
Not much in this race still. It's still very close, and they're split tacks right now. I like the look of where Dean Barker's going. He's going into more pressure. That side of the race course always looks like it's taking a wind. Shirley's, what can you see on the water? Is there one side that's got better pressure right now?
Keep going.
Full Cytric.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, all day I've liked the right-hand side, and teams just sailing into more and more wind over there.
The other beauty he's got right now is he's jibing onto starboard tack, which means when the boats come back together here, he's going to have the right of way. The real question is, can Emirates Team New Zealand get to the final ley line? Can they do it in one more jibe, or do they have to do it in two more? But right now, it's looking like the balance has shifted back to the Patriot here. It looks like the Americans have got the lead and have got some composure and are just placing the boat between their competitors and the finish.
And we do know that USA have shown strong downward speed, which you can see on the bottom left of your screen there. It is a real race, the final race on day one of the America's Cup World Series between two teams that have picked up a win apiece on this day.
Americans are faster right now. They're just faster, simply faster. 3 knots faster. And starboard tack advantage, and it looks like they're laying the line. So this is going to be a tough one for the Kiwis. I think both teams are going to think they gave this one away at some stage, but a win is a win is a win.
Emirates Team New Zealand certainly had the crack at that top gate for the last time. They got the inside running on the left-hand mark and then just gave it away.
Well done, though, by the Americans.
So it's American Magic get the win of the Battle of the Heavyweights on day one. They beat Emirates Team New Zealand, and the supporters are more than happy. And why would you be? What a race to complete the opening day. Emirates Team New Zealand crossed the line. 12 seconds, the clock says. At one stage it was 25 seconds. They certainly came back. Perfect example of what this America's Cup is all about. If you can't fight back, don't be in this game.
Well, three passes. This is for us as commentators, my friends. That is all we want is passes, because it makes for a really exciting race. And the people who created these boats, two great teams out there on the water. This is what we're looking for: is fun, exciting match racing. There were people tacking on each other going up the beat. What a concept!
That was awesome action, guys. I'm on the edge of my seat, and as soon as Team New Zealand started getting back into that race and the tacking drill began and the overlap at the top mark, man, we can dissect this race for hours.
And you know these guys will be. There's no question about that.
Let's go into the water as Blair Tuke and Peter Burling have a quiet chat with each other. Shirley, you said earlier on in the day that American Magic, they were hot. Their downward speed is hot.
Yeah, they've got wheels when the breeze is up. There's no question there. And to me, they just got faster and faster as it went on. And actually looked, they didn't make many mistakes. So the maneuvers were clean as well. And in that race, the mistakes were largely the Kiwis. Early on in that race, the Kiwis did not look settled. Something was going on, but they obviously managed to fix it and get going. But what a boost to this American team. What a race that was for them, and a great first day here in Auckland.
Well, that's 2 from 2, guys. If you include the practice racing from the other day.
Risky maneuver, though, walking around at a very pro-Kiwi waterfront with an American flag, kind of stirring it up.
That's okay, because there's a Kiwi on the American boat, so we'll balance that out and go to Dean Barker right now. Dean, hell of a race. Congratulations. Great win.
I had a nice little lead, and then they did a nice job coming back into it all. So yeah, we sort of let them sort of play through, carry on, and
our apologies there. Day one gremlins, you might call it, but you saw one thing that was quite obvious on Dean Barker's face, Kenny: a smile.
Smile. What a concept. That's fantastic. Listen, good for these guys. They've had, like Nathan said earlier, they've had more time on the water through all of their different boats than anybody. Probably relied less on the simulator and less on that kind of technology, and did it the old-fashioned way. They've had time on the water, and they look like it. They're sailing smooth.
Confirmation of the last race of the opening day of the Prada America's Cup World Series. American Magic have the perfect day, 2 from 2. And they win and beat Team New Zealand by 12 seconds.